So as you know, we raise chickens, and we have summertime chickens and wintertime chickens, and then we have chickens that are both. So we have Americanas that produce eggs through the summertime. Well, they're starting to slow down now. And then we have Brahmas, and they're going to be a dual purpose chicken. They get really big, and they will produce eggs through the winter, but they also will be great meat birds because they're so big. Since the Americanas are slowing down, we were kind of hoping that our new Brahmas, we just got them in the spring, would start producing by now, but they're not. We're going to start slowing down on eggs. It's unfortunate, but it was just part of the process. Hopefully next year we'll have all these bugs worked out and won't have any problems. And then of course next spring we'll incubate our chickens again, and we'll get the Brahmas this time incubated, and that'll give us really big birds to butcher. Last spring we had Americanas, and they're real small, 6 to 8 pounds. Well, I don't even know if they ever get 8 to 8 pounds. And we butchered all those. We just butchered the last set. We had 2 adults in that batch, so I learned yesterday that we're going to wait 3 days before we can that chicken, because the meat on those older birds are really dense. And so the longer you let that chicken sit in the fridge, those fibers will loosen up in there. But my community, I have found, is not wanting me to sell eggs. So as you know, years ago, I sold chicken eggs. Well, duck eggs primarily. I also sold some chicken eggs, but I didn't have near as many chickens as I did ducks. So I sold a bunch of duck eggs. And it was just to the neighbors, friends of my child. So my daughter, had friends, same age as her, and they go play. And the parents of those children would say, hey, can I have some duck eggs? Sure. And they'd give me $2. And I wasn't really selling them. It was just, hey, the neighbor kid wanted some eggs, you know, whatever. Well, I had one neighbor who really didn't like me, and I suspect he turned me in to the USDA, I think is who it was. Well, the USDA didn't throw a big fit about it, but they said it was illegal for me to sell eggs unless I had a permit. Well, I didn't research or anything back then. Didn't care. I really wasn't interested in selling eggs. It wasn't the point. I was trying to do what I'm doing now, make enough eggs that I can have eggs every day. That way we don't have a stockpile of eggs, or we have to try to preserve or sell or trade or whatever. I can just feed myself and Carolyn. Well, that's what I was trying to do in the past, but we had so many ducks. What happened was somebody sold a bunch of ducks. We had to take them all for like $25. So we took them all. We started to butcher the ducks, but I found that I didn't like the taste of the ducks, so we just let the eggs go, and we had so many eggs we didn't know what to do with. Now I'm on YouTube. A lot of people tell me that I should get an abundance of eggs and sell them or trade them. The thing is I already know that I can't. I've even had people send me articles saying, well, Missouri says you can. There are 26 states in the United States that won't let you sell eggs or milk or anything. Now, I don't know. They may let you do it with a permit. In Missouri, you can. They'll let you. But the federal government requires you have a permit to sell eggs. Or they won't let you sell eggs. I'm not sure what it is. And I really don't care. Like I said, I don't care. And that law was passed, I think, in '84, sometime back in the 80s. Because of food safety concerns. Salmonella and listeria. Well, when I was a kid, I remember this old man used to drive around in an old Chevy truck twice a week throughout town, and he'd deliver milk. And we always bought the milk. Now I'm older, I realize, hey, nobody sells milk anymore. What's going on? Well, because we have to worry about people's safety. Well, I made a community tab post. Last night. So you'll get this video a couple days from now. I asked, should it be illegal for me to sell eggs or milk from my homestead? Now, 90-something% said, no, that shouldn't be illegal. And I kind of expected that because my audience is a freedom-loving audience. The YouTube algorithm sends it out to people who like my videos, like my personality, like what I'm doing, whatever the case is. But they don't send it out to many people who disagree with me. But the thing is, 3% still disagreed with me and said, no, it should be illegal. But what I always find interesting, fascinating, is it seems to me, reading through the comment section, that the people who disagree with me are the loudest. They make more comments than the people who agree with me. And I heard it all. Well, absolutely, it should be illegal. What about food safety? You can sell your eggs as long as you have insurance that if somebody gets sick that you can be held liable. But here's the thing that I notice in all my community tab posts is the people who disagree with the freedom aspect of whatever the question is always go back to that you and me are too stupid to make decisions on our own. We're just not smart enough. And so like in this question about the eggs, you know, they're just people not smart enough to realize that they have to have eggs cooked to the proper temperature or the milk has to be pasteurized. And so they're going to come to your homestead and they're going to be too stupid to know any different. They're going to buy your food and you're going to make them sick. You need to be held liable for that. Yet I think the 90-something% are well aware that there's a risk of buying anything. But in the end, I know I got to cook my eggs. I know I got to cook my chicken. I know I got to do all that. So it's safe. I'm going to wash the counter after I'm done. Use some sort of disinfectant. What I think it is the people who want safety are too lazy to take care of themselves. They want somebody else to take care of them. I don't want to have to wash my counter after I'm done. If I walk away and my child eats a raw egg, it better be safe. Well, what's funny is the food that you are buying is not safe. There's this perception it's safe because it's FDA approved and USDA approved. It's got to be safe. But here's what I find so interesting. I think all can agree that Europe probably have more restrictive safety protocols than the United States. At least that's my feeling. Yet Britain doesn't refrigerate their eggs. What? They don't refrigerate their eggs. Why not? They're going to get sick. When an egg comes out of the hen, it has this coating on it that protects it for weeks. I would suspect about 8 weeks, but that's just a guess. I didn't look it up. You can look it up. It's all on Google. It's incredible how that's thing. You just type your question into a computer and all of a sudden the answers come back. So let's just say it's 8 weeks or 3 weeks, 5 weeks. Here in the United States, the FDA and USDA require that the farmer wash their eggs before they sell it to the store. Well, now it's got to be refrigerated. Well, imagine this. It's on the truck. It's getting put on the hand dolly cart and it's being shipped into the store. The driver gets distracted and sits out in the hot sun for 20 minutes. Are those eggs any good? Well, I don't know. But the FDA says it is. So they take it in there and they sell it. People get sick. Recall on this batch of eggs. Does anybody get sued? No, nobody gets sued. So why does the local farmer who just wants to sell eggs off their property get sued? Why do we have to have insurance? Because it wasn't FDA approved. The government didn't say it was safe. Even though I got sick from the government food, it's still safe. It's safer than that farm food. Here in the United States, eggs have to be refrigerated. In Britain, they don't because they don't wash the eggs. The other thing is the food that the FDA and USDA approve is garbage. 90% of the food have ingredients and chemicals in it that you can't even read. Monosodium glutamate. I have a problem with it. It's not good for me. I don't think it's good for most people. But what I have found is monosodium glutamate is kind of a drug. Not the stuff you get out of the ocean in China, the stuff that they manufacture here in the United States. It's garbage. It's kind of a drug. It makes your brain addicted to food. So if you're eating monosodium glutamate, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, has tons of it. I think KFC was actually banned in India because of much MSG they use. We eat it and then we get addicted to it and then we eat some more and eat some more and eat some more. And then we become sick, obese. So why did the FDA and USDA approve this chemical when it's not good for you? Makes you sick. So there was this movie maker back in the early 2000s, made a movie called 30 Days. I think it was 30 Days. What he did was he ate McDonald's for 30 days. Breakfast, lunch, and supper. That's all he ate. Well, I mean, he was gaining weight and his blood pressure was high, by 10 days. And his doctor is telling him, you're not going to last the 30 days. You're going to die. He said, well, no, I got to continue. And doctor's begging him, get off the food. Get back to a better diet. Now, we all thought that was meat, but it's not. It was all the garbage. Carbohydrates is poison. And yet the government tells us we have to eat carbohydrates. The doctors tell us we have to eat carbohydrates, but it's pure sugar. I've said that in many videos. There is a lot of scientific evidence that carbohydrates are terrible for you. Grains, corns, noodles, bread, it's all terrible. So the FDA and USDA says you got to eat that, but you can't eat farm fresh eggs. Now, when we talk about McDonald's and Taco Bell, we can all agree that that is not healthy food. I mean, we all just seem to instinctively know that. Yet the government says we can eat it. When I talk about farm fresh eggs and farm fresh milk, not pasteurized, not cleaned, you just go over there and you pick it up, I think we all instinctively know that's good for us. But we're not allowed to sell it in 26 states and the federal government. Or I'm at risk of getting sued by somebody who came over and bought eggs and didn't take any precautions. The thing I find interesting is the 90% of the people who voted no, let's not make it illegal, if they got sick from my eggs, I would pretty much guess they would not sue me. It's the 3% who said it should be illegal that would sue me in a heartbeat. Instead of taking personal responsibility for their own lives, they want to blame somebody else. If you come up to a farm and you know it's not USDA approved, I mean, I can just put a sign up, not approved by the government, and you bought the eggs, it's kind of like you buy at your own risk. You go to a used car salesman, it says as is, so you go in there with a mechanic and you check it out and you make sure it's okay, and you pull it off the lot and the brakes fails. That's on you. But I can guarantee you some of these 3%ers would have said, no, I'm suing. They sold me an unsafe car, even though he said as is. But as soon as it's approved by the government, oh, it's okay, I got sick, no big deal. The government said it was okay for me to eat. California just passed a law. It was signed in that says doctors are no longer allowed to go against public policy. So if there's a public policy, health policy, doctors are not allowed to talk against it. Here we have a bunch of elected people, typically lawyers, now pretending to be doctors, telling doctors they can't be doctors. I think I'll just trust my farmer. So if you click this up next video, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about wood stoves and how they're trying to ban those in the United States. So I hope I can inspire you to eat healthy, even though it's not FDA approved. Thanks for watching.